Welcome to my channel, all. Today's video. Today's an interesting day. A lot of information that came out today. First of which, of course, if you haven't known by now, Tom Brady retiring, or he says it's officially retiring, even though he retired a couple times, and then he came back. But it looks like this one might be the final of it. I mean, honestly, I don't think he's going to go to the West Coast, like to Las Vegas, the Vegas Raiders or San Francisco 49ers, even though it'd be great for him to like play 1 year in the 49ers and help build up Trey Lance a little bit. Kind of would suck for Garoppolo because then he'd be playing under him basically. But anyways, it seems like that's like this might be it for Tom Brady. I hope it is, because I one of my videos I basically said that Tom Brady should retire, and he should stay retired at this point, honestly. Now, this video might go beyond 15 minutes because like there's a lot to talk about it for today, basically. So I was watching. I mean, I actually caught First Take today on ESPN, and oh my goodness, it was Mike and the Mad Dog, Mike Francesca, on First Take with Mad Dog Chris Russo and Stephen A. Mike and Mad Dog, I used to grow up watching them. I mean, not watching them, but listening to them. As an early tween to the teenagers into my like 20s and such, and like it was great listening to them, and like it was such great sports talk radio. I mean, these guys defined what sports talk radio was and is. Granted, things have changed a little bit, but without Mike and the Mad Dog, I don't think there would be a Stephen A. Smith. There would be no Mike and Mike on ESPN. There'd be no PTI, was it pardon the interruption type of thing, or even for that matter, I don't think there would be a Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless show, and all these other things at this point as well too. Quite honestly, because these two defined what sports talk radio should be at that point, and sports talk radio, which translates, can translate to TV a little bit, but it was more of a case where like these guys defined what sports talk was all about. But in any case, it was one of those things where the news kept coming out of that Tom Brady retiring, and the question came out: is Tom Brady the greatest of all time? Is Tom Brady the greatest of all time? Initially, I would have said yes, because of the fact that what he did with the Falcons, when he was with the Patriots, and then what he did with Tampa Bay as well, to winning the Super Bowl, 7 Super Bowls. But then Mike Francesca brought up an interesting point, and I was like, wait a minute. That's a valid argument. And it was more of a case where like Mike Francesca thought, okay, for the longevity aspect of things, yeah, Brady is. But in reality, he wasn't as a better player during the regular season like Peyton Manning was, which is true. Honestly, if you did the numbers between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady during the regular seasons for their time periods, that they played together, Peyton Manning actually had a better QBR than Brady. Now, granted, when Manning got into the playoffs, he pretty much wasn't there at that point. His QBR ratings dropped considerably, and it was one of those cases where you're like, this is Peyton Manning. He never played to the expectations of what he should have been while he was playing in the regular season. Basically, as Francesca basically put it bluntly, Peyton played so well at 100% during the regular season that during the playoffs, he never achieved that same level or went above. It was always below that, far below that point. Where like, and so to the point where like when they went into the Super Bowl with the Colts, it was that one time, and then the 2 times with the Denver Broncos. The first time around, it was because of the defense, which, let's put it bluntly, it was the Denver defense more than anything else. And the second time around, it showed basically, when they lost to the Seahawks. In any case, it only proves a point that, yeah, Manning was by far better than him, but he's not the greatest. And now the question is like comparing Brady to Joe Montana, who I grew up with, and I thought he was the GOAT at the time. Montana, in the playoffs, but more specifically in the Super Bowl, during the Super Bowl, Montana far outshined what Brady did. Montana's QBR rating was so high up there, whereas Brady, not as much. I mean, honestly, Montana never lost a Super Bowl, whereas Brady lost 3 Super Bowls, 2 specifically to my Giants, of course, and 1 to the Eagles. Um, but outside of that, it was a valid point and valid observation that with Brady, he didn't. He probably got a couple of breaks here and there, but when he came to when in crunch time, if you had a choice in the Super Bowl between Montana or Brady, who do you choose? I would have chose Montana honestly, because like when there were times when you had issues, Montana was the guy. When it came down to Brady, it would come out every now and then. But let's not forget, in those two Super Bowls against the Giants, and as well as the Eagles, they had those shots, and he never came through. Now, granted, the only time that he did really well was, of course, with the Atlanta Falcons when he played. His team played against the Atlanta Falcons, and I forgot the other team that they played against that they came back from. The Seahawks was really the defense when they went against the Seahawks. Um, yeah, I mean, the first time they played the Rams, I think that was more of a case where like that was Brady's first time playing basically. And like the Rams were not unexpected of how he played. But in any case, but reality, yeah, I mean, you could say that Tom Brady is up there on the Mount Rushmores of quarterbacks, definitely for sure. Like Montana, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, those are the top three right then and there. I mean, would you say also Troy Aikman? I would say yeah. Troy Aikman would be up there as well too, but not to the point of these three. They don't. These three are the top tier. These three are the top tier. Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, and Joe Montana. Sorry, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, and Tom Brady. Some could say basically, what about Johnny Unitas? I would say Johnny Unitas could be up there as well too. Um, but he didn't get into the Super Bowl as much. And then some could say for Brett Favre. Honestly, if that was true, then Brett Favre would have had multiple Super Bowl rings and such, and he had the longevity as Brady, but he didn't really get into the Super Bowl as Brady did. Same thing could be said about Aaron Rodgers, John Elway. Now Marino's up there, but the problem is Marino never got that Super Bowl ring, so that's one of the big things. Terry Bradshaw, I think he was a person where he wasn't great, but without him, the Steelers would not win. Brett Starr, same thing as well too. Phil Simms, he's not that in that level, of course, but in reality, it's one of those things where it was basically Brady, Montana, and Manning for sure. They're the top three right up there, basically. Now, the other factor that came into play was now that he's retired, what should Tom Brady do? Some were saying that maybe he'd be a great sports analyst or football analyst, meaning that go on the sidelines like a Tony Romo and Troy Aikman. Honestly, I don't think he has that personality to do that. I mean, even though even though he says everything up front, he's a straight shooter. The only thing is he doesn't have the personality. And Francesca's right. I think this is also regurgitating Francesca at this point. My Francesca, basically, he's right. Tom Brady would not be a great analyst. He doesn't have that shtick. He doesn't have that nuance to engage the audience, honestly. And I think so. That's actually, it seems like it's accurate as well, too. Unless somehow Brady has some sports communication aspects that he could play into, that he can be a sideline report, not sideline, analyst, or one of those, on the desk analyst type of people, like, where, Phil Simms. Yeah, Phil Simms, the coaches, Howie Long, Terry Bradshaw can be. He might have that. I don't think he has that personality in say, but he might have some insights for it. But I think my honest opinion, I think Tom Brady should be more of a coach. He should be a coach, not a offensive coordinator. Not just yet. He's not yet there at the offensive coordinator level, but he's smart enough to realize, and come up with offensive schemes himself, that he can definitely be a QB coach and offensive coordinator, like kind of like a deputy offensive coordinator in ways, or deputy offensive coordinator, OC. I think in that situation, same thing with Drew Brees. Drew Brees, the guy had the nuance and the skills and the mindset of offense, that he knew where things were, how to draw plays and such, that I think him, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady should be both QB coaches to develop QBs, but also at the same time define the offense as well too, like kind of be deputy offensive coordinators until the point where, like, once they get things under their belt, they should then be elevated into offensive coordinators at that point. Because sometimes you can do reads on defenses and you know what it is, and sometimes you can actually have some insights into for the defense and all, like, okay, this is how you attack that quarterback based on seeing things and all that stuff. I mean, could Manning be an analyst? I don't think so. Same thing with Drew Brees. He would not be an analyst. I don't think he's a great analyst. Sure, and same thing with, honestly, the Payton brothers, Eli and Peyton Manning. The Monday Night Football thing, they're not great. They're not analysts. If you watch them straight up, it's pretty mundane and boring stuff, basically. Honestly, the only reason why that's good enough is because those two together kind of make it happen, but it's still boring enough to the point I'm like, I wouldn't know, honestly. To be quite honest, I think Peyton would be a great QB coach. I think he would be a great QB coach, too. And then he could build himself up to be an offensive coordinator. But in reality, he is not. Peyton Manning is not an analyst as well, too. Which now comes down to the aspect of, from Brady, leading into the other news. Sean Payton signing with the Denver Broncos as the head coach. Question comes down to is, can Sean Payton help resurrect Russell Wilson as a QB, what he was in Seattle? I think he can. But the thing is, I don't think he has enough of the tools to get Wilson to where he was at that point. I mean, there's not enough offensive weapons out there with the running back and wide receivers, or tight end for that matter. To the point where, like, it's shown, like, Pete Carroll might have sheltered Russell Wilson to the point, like, after Wilson left, look what happened with Geno Smith. Look what Pete Carroll did with Geno Smith. It's a possibility that Sean Payton can do the exact same thing with Russell Wilson. But the problem is, it's like, when the Broncos traded for Russell Wilson, they give up a lot of draft capital, and now getting Sean Payton, they give another set of draft capitals. They don't have a good set of draft picks for the next 5 years, 6 years. That's a mistake. And honestly, if Elway's still the president and GM, I think you gotta fire him, man. I mean, if Elway's the GM, because, like, he has never been a good GM, to be quite honest. He does not know how to build a team. Elway is not a good GM person, to be quite honest. Not like a John Lynch with the 49ers. So Sean Payton going in with because you could tell Sean Payton did not want to be an analyst. He was just there. He really wants to coach. You could tell he wants to coach. He was itching to coach, and that's why he's joining the Denver Broncos. Honestly, I think if Sean Payton waited, he probably could have gotten the Dallas Cowboys pick, Dallas Cowboys as his pick, and, like, he has definitely has the tools there. Or for that matter, LA Chargers. The Chargers are the perfect team for him. You have a young quarterback that you can develop, just like what Payton did. Payton did with Sean Payton did with Drew Brees. Justin Herbert's something ripe to be molded to what Sean Payton can do, basically, with them, and he has enough of the offensive weapons out there to do that. That I think, if Sean Payton's there, if Sean Payton had joined the Chargers would have elevated themselves to the NFL and AFC championships every year practically, and eventually to the Super Bowl. Now, with that being said, now the question is like, with Russell Wilson, can he do something with Russell Wilson? I don't know, honestly. This is going to be a little bit tricky, to be honest with you. I think Russell Wilson aged a little bit more. He's going to have to protect him a little bit more, and and have the offensive weapons out there for that. And I don't think Sean Payton can do that his first year. You might see Russell Wilson elevate a little bit much higher, bring his QBR ratings back up a little bit. But in reality, unless Russell Wilson was built for a guy to run, and as he ages, he's not going to be, that mobile. I mean, we saw it with Cam Newton. So this is the same thing, basically. Honestly, it's going to be a tough 2-3 years with Sean Payton. I mean, he might keep Denver respectable, but I don't think they're gonna be going beyond the first wild card rounds. Basically, they'll make it into the wild cards, but I don't think they're gonna go beyond the wild card from that aspect. So I mean, from that aspect, from the football perspective, Brady retiring, hopefully it's a good thing. I mean, hopefully it's permanent. I think he should be an offensive coordinator. Honestly, it would be perfect for how great would it be for Brady to be with the Jets as a QB coach and offensive coordinator. He's not definitely not a coach itself, but an offensive coordinator. Definitely, he'd make a great offensive coordinator down the line. But I think he'd be first starting off as a QB coach, as well as kind of a deputy offensive coordinator. And I think the Jets would be the perfect team for him at that point to be that person, either the Jets or the 49ers, to the point where I think he can help build out and mold Trey Lance a little bit. Garoppolo, I think the 49ers have to trade Garoppolo. Trade Garoppolo for a draft pick. They need some draft picks. You got Purdy, so basically let Brady mold Trey Lance and Purdy. You saw what Purdy could do. Trey Lance probably would have done much better. So like mold them a little bit. Let him come in as a QB coach, and then the offensive coordinating part will work itself out at that point. And then honestly with the Eli and Peyton Manning Monday Night Football commentaries, I think ESPN should end that. They should end that, even though it's kind of a gimmick now. It's too gimmicky now to the point like I think you see the ratings are still there because of the fact that they want to see brothers fighting or sparring against each other. And I think the Mannings realize that, but in reality, I think they should end it because it's going to get too old very quickly. And then in that aspect as well too, like Sean Payton going to the Broncos. Let's see what happens there. Now the other question is what happens with Aaron Rodgers? Where should he go? Honestly, I think Aaron Rodgers should go to the Jets. I hate to say it, he's gonna have that stigma of being shadow of Brett Favre, Green Bay, then going to the Jets. If he brings the Jets to the AFC Championships, I mean, the similarities are going to be there at that point. But at the same time, the Jets have a talented offense and they're talented defense as well too to get to that stage. If not, I mean, honestly, the Patriots. But I don't know if he could work well under Bill Belichick. I don't know how Rodgers would do under Bill Belichick. Okay, and then from there, the other question is now, of course, the Knicks losing to that. But honestly, I'll get to the Knicks and LeBron James into another video, basically. But in this situation, or this video, basically, I say basically a lot about a situation and such. But anyways, Brady retiring, and Sean Payton signing with the signing as head coach for the Denver Broncos. Let's see how the following year shapes out. Also, let's see what happens with Saquon Barkley deal. Honestly, if I'm the Broncos, you have Russell Wilson, you need that running back. I would go for Saquon Barkley. Now I'm a Giants fan. I don't want to see Saquon leave, but the Giants are not going to pay him like McCaffrey money. The Broncos are dumb enough, Elway's definitely dumb enough to sign Barkley for that kind of money. Let him sign for that. Now the question is, should the Giants sign Daniel Jones? I don't know. Maybe he signed him as a backup QB, but I don't think he's your long-term number one QB. But in any case, outside of that, I'll just leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts. With Tom Brady, now that he's retired, what should he be? Should he go into the TV commentary analyst aspect, or should he maybe go into coaching? Same thing with Sean Payton. What do you think Sean Payton's going to do? Will you think Sean Payton going to the Broncos, will he help elevate Russell Wilson back to where he was when he left Seattle, or like maybe get him close to there and then maybe build out that team at that point? Or do you think Sean Payton will be frustrated with the Broncos and probably just leave eventually? Let me know your thoughts on that. Please leave a comment. I do read my comments. I do comment them as you see for most of them. For those that I don't comment on, it's probably because the fact is I probably left a video link answering with another video at that point as well too. And please subscribe. Under normal circumstances, I would live stream from my laptops, but more often than not, I love live streaming from my phone nowadays. And recording from my phone is not so great, unfortunately, because of the fact of like I have the Pixel 5, and it kind of, I don't want to say flames out, but it burns up to the point where like the camera has to shut off at that point after like 2 minutes of recording, basically, or 3 minutes of recording, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. I can get 4 to 5 minutes at most. But if I'm live streaming, for some reason it can go on. But in any case, yeah, if I get 1,000 subscribers, I'll be able to live stream from my phone. That'd be great. So if I can get 1,000 subscribers, at least just to like uh, stream from my phone, that'd be great. I mean, honestly, if YouTube can actually allow streaming for everyone immediately, that would be great from any device. That would be great. But in this case, they only set 1,000 for mobile devices. You have to have 1,000 subscribers to basically subscribe. Not subscribe. You have to have 1,000 subscribers just to stream from a mobile device, which sucks. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Anything else beyond that? Just give me your thoughts on, like I said, our feedback and such. I'm already at my 20-minute mark, so I don't want to keep it on too long. I don't want to waste your time, but let me know your thoughts basically. Hopefully I didn't waste your time. Hopefully you kind of share my same opinion. If you're not, hopefully you find it a little insightful, or like disagreement. Be my guest or comment. You know what? If you want to throw a flame war, let's go into a flame war. I'd love to go into a flame war when it comes to sports. That's great. In any case, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.